there's a lot of non-renewable natural resources that are out there that we're using all the time. There's oil, there's massive reserve of oil, and they're actually expanding even now as we go through, but they really do have a limited life expectancy. We can't use them forever. Natural gas, there's all kinds of deposits for natural gas, and we have huge fluctuations in prices. You have government trying to step in and stop the use of petroleum as you go through. Coal is a giant usage. It's been in usage in the United States for years and years, but now we have people lining up saying, oh, coal really puts out a massive amount of pollution. So the US throttles it back and China ramps it up as you go through. So unless we're all on the same page, we're going to have a long problem of non-renewable natural resources. But it depends as to what numbers you read and who writes the latest book as to what the truth is on the data on our different fossil fuels as you go through. Natural resources, anything supplied by nature on which people depend, and renewable are things that can be replenished. Sunlight, wind, waterfall, even wood. You can cut down a tree and plant another one in this place, or plant a whole forest as you go through in the process, but you have to really plant and have a plan to do that as you go through. So you look at all kinds of different consumption as you go through the process over here. You look at the renewables and the non-renewables. We really have to pay attention as to what the difference is and what is the feasibility of their use and what is the impact that they have, because we're talking about the world of international business. Non-renewable energy, it comes from sources that can't be replenished. Typically, we're looking at petroleum, the world's #1 revenue producer, but also coal and natural gas, and even nuclear power when it comes down to it. Nuclear power, everybody is so afraid of the aspect of nuclear power, and probably rightly so. The Chernobyl disaster really comes back from the Ukraine to haunt us to this day as to what a worst case scenario can and will be. So those things haunt us, and so we worry about them as we go through. Also, trying to dispose of nuclear material is really difficult, and there's been fights in the United States as to where we can sit down and contain it because nobody wants it. So that presents a problem all by itself as it comes down to it. So how long will supplies last? Oil shale's been underdeveloped due to environmental issues. Pretty much a lot of people, they don't like to sit down and have an oil well in their backyard. It doesn't look very pretty, but they also don't like windmills in their backyard either, because, and also if they sit down, and if you happen to live near one, you'll notice a lot of dead carcasses of different types of birds as they go through and get caught in the propellers. That's actually the truth as you go through, especially the raptors in the process. Heavy oil doesn't flow easily. It's produced from oil sands and oil-bearing shale. We have plenty of that in the United States, especially though in Canada, where they have massive amounts of different oil producing from oil-bearing shale and the oil sands. Fracking opened up a huge number of reserves, but a lot of people point to fracking saying, oh, it's going to destroy my water. And there is some evidence where there are cases where the water supply has been contaminated, but they're only limited and it's not across the board. And some people, they really go out trying to find data that sometimes simply isn't there. But if it is there and it's affecting you, it's the most important thing on planet Earth as it goes through. Nuclear power, the data suggests a lot of countries are expanding nuclear capacity, but really it's a big issue on safety, but also disposal. How do you get rid of stuff that's going to be radioactive for 500, 1,000, or 10,000 years in the process? We look at coal. Coal, there's different types of coal as you go through, and this is not in the scope as to the difference between sulfur-based coal and the higher end coal as you go through, but it really is not a clean burning product as you go through. Natural gas, on the other hand, really is a clean burning fossil fuel, but it has a limited capacity. And surprisingly, even though there actually seems to be an abundance in the United States, the prices just recently skyrocket. There's a lot of different changes and thoughts as to how to go about doing that. Now the world's turning attention on electric cars. They don't pollute. No, there is no tailpipe on electric car except there's smokestacks on chimneys that generate electricity. And oh, by the way, what you're seeing here, look close, that's a lithium mine. Oh, but they had to rip away the entire surface of the earth and dig down into the ground and market lithium in a thing called rare earth. It is not pollution free. It creates a substantial amount of environmental pollution because it's still mining activity. just in a different form. Instead of mining coal, and we paint coal with this harsh brushes saying, oh, it's really dirty. I'm sorry, lithium is very difficult to mine, and you strip away a lot of the earth, or you go through, you take a lake bed and you separate it off and have vast, huge areas where you evaporate water off of lithium and you mine it that way, and then have lithium well ponds as you go through the process as well. So you look at rare earth and lithium. On top of that, rare earth, China today has 80% of the market of rare earth. In the US, we're scrambling to sit down and try to find more rare earth deposits. We have at least one so far here in California. There's a couple in other parts of the country. And lithium, of all places, we may have some lithium right over here, just a few miles away from Orange County, an entire huge area of lithium. But that said, it's going to take mining operations, and mining is never pretty, even on a sunny, bright day as you go through. Non-renewable natural resources, it's a challenge. No matter what happens, you're going to have the people fighting to maintain their way of living and their way of actually earning an income on a daily basis. You're going to have the other people over here interested in a cleaner planet. Please don't burn coal. No coal, no coal. I understand what they're saying, except what about the people here? There's a balance there somewhere. Okay, but that being said, that's for you to figure out. And by the way, this is a business class. Figure it out and make some money in the process for your company. Huge shifts in the aspect of petroleum is the #1 revenue generator, and non-renewable, yes, but so is rare earth and the batteries, the stuff used to make batteries for electric cars. So let's not mask the fact that all energy has certain drawbacks in the process as we go through. Yes, some ends up with clean cars on the road, but you have a planet that's stripped down to the bare essentials as you're trying to find the lithium in the process you go through. Open your eyes as we go through, but the biggest thing, and here it is, we talk about sustainability. If we sit down and implement all the parts of the Paris Accord, the Forbes reports $131 trillion by the year 2050. This is a business class. At the end of the day, we can talk about the three basic components of societal costs, environmental costs, but also the profitability in the process as well. Pay attention to where the new markets are opening in the process. Take care.